Good afternoon. I'm here to talk directly to the citizens of Harris County. Citizens that I consider to be the fundamental stakeholders of the Harris County Sheriff's Office. You may have recently heard of a horrendous incident involving the Harris County Jail. And while that terrible incident remains under investigation and the circumstances are troubling, I'm here to share the actions to prevent this from ever happening again. While all the answers we all need may not yet be available, I can tell you that today an open, extensive, and comprehensive investigation continues. As the answers to your questions and mine are provided once the investigation is complete, I'm here because as terrible as this incident is, it should not allow us to forget where my work began and the progress that has been made. First, I do want to step back and tell you that when I joined the Houston Police Department, it was to help change an organization from within. This has been my mission in all areas of my public career. And my passion in this regard remains unabated. And I have become even much more resolved to do so today. When I stepped in as sheriff in 2009, I inherited a Department of Justice investigation well underway due to the systemic and chronic issues that were once part of the county jail system. And there was a real concern of the number of persons dying while in our custody. The jailhouse was overcrowded by 2,000 inmates, and we were shipping them to the state of Louisiana at a cost of nearly $60 million of your money. The sheriff's office had a damaged relationship with members of the community, especially members of the minority communities. And so when I walked in, my top priority was to restore the trust and confidence of the sheriff's office in the eyes of the public, and to remind our employees that they are public servants obligated to you, the citizens, charged with keeping you safe. Further, I want to make it clear that no matter your walk of life, your social economic status, or ethnicity, my commitment is that you be treated with dignity, respect, and justice. Today, the Harris County Jail is no longer overcrowded. We are down from approximately 11,400 inmates in 2009 to an average of 8,600 in recent years. And it has come with no increase, and in many cases, a decrease in the crime rate. In years past, the number of deaths in jail custody alarmed community leaders like Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who alerted the Department of Justice, prompting long-term monitoring and evaluation that continues today. During my administration, we have reduced the number of in-custody deaths by 40%, and I will not stop until we can celebrate zero. But despite those successes, obviously, challenges still exist. But so does my resolve to keep my sleeves rolled up. However, our successes have been in large part because from the very beginning, I made a pledge to transparency and engagement of all the citizens of Harris County, reminding the nearly 5,000 men and women under my command of their obligation to serve our very diverse community. To that end, I remain damn angry, and I'm outraged by the recent accounts of failure in the Harris County Jail. While our records indicate that this incident appears to be isolated, it remains completely inexcusable. I'm angry and disappointed, and I promise to get to the bottom of this because I continue to stand for justice, fairness, and equality for all persons in the criminal justice system. My record on this speaks for itself. You know well that over the course of my time in office, I've used the pulpit of the Harris County Sheriff's Office to remind people that the mentally ill should not be housed in the county jail for treatment that they should otherwise get in the community. I put policy in place to ensure that sick people don't come to jail as a byproduct of their illness. And I ask you to join me in urging our lawmakers to continue to make changes in the mental health care system across the state of Texas. Anything less will only guarantee that we will have future challenges in the very foreseeable future. And as I've said, the Harris County Jail needs to stop being the place where the mentally ill in our society find the care that they should be able to have without having to be arrested first. The case is an open investigation, but what I can tell you is that an inmate was housed in deplorable conditions during a portion of his time here. Again, because the investigation remains open, we do not have all the facts or all the answers. We don't know how long. We don't know the extent of his isolation. But I do know that just one day in these conditions was very wrong. As I have already mentioned, I have ordered an extensive investigation, and I have dedicated numerous resources to get to the bottom of the breakdown that occurred as quickly as we can. A complete investigation is critical to understand what happened. And I remind you that the rules, the policies, the practices, the laws were already in place to ensure that this was already prohibited. That breakdown is at the center of my investigation and why people disobeyed those policies. I've met privately with Mr. Goodwin's mother, and I've apologized to her. I stand by that apology. It's a sincere apology. And once again, Ms. Lambert, I'm sorry. This is a jail where we want people to learn their lesson within the boundaries of the law. But they are not to be treated less than the human beings that they are, regardless of how fragile they may be. As sheriff, I regularly remind my troops to act courageously, with valor and honor, to protect the citizens of Harris County. But the obligation I place on my staff is that they must enforce the laws. They must enforce them well. They must protect their lives and the lives of innocent citizens. But they must also protect civil rights of all people. And they must do these things at the same time. They must do them well, and they must do them every time. In 2008, a Department of Justice investigation was initiated because the previous administration allowed the staff to forget that the inmates in our custody belong to someone. They are someone's family. They're someone's brother, sister, daughter, or son. And they deserve to be treated with the same dignity and respect we would expect for our loved ones. I remind my staff to think of those in our custody as if they were their family members, and how would they want them to be treated. That's a difficult request at times, given the fact that many of my detention employees have suffered serious injury at the hands of those in our custody. But my order remains, because we cannot forget that we are a nation of laws. We must remember this as we do our job, and it is an incredibly hard job to do. You see, you get to see our patrol deputies when they do courageous things. You get to see them help a little kid. You get to see them help a senior citizen. You get to see them be human beings and be brave and courageous. But all too often, the bravery and the valor and the courageousness of our detention employees never gets seen. It largely goes unnoticed. This most recent incident has cast an unwelcome shadow on the entire Harris County Sheriff's Office, and that is regretful, because we do have good-hearted, honest, and hard-working public servants working in this very place. And I want this investigation to vindicate them. My investigation will find out what individuals were responsible and will hold them entirely accountable. It's a difficult, risky, and dangerous job to work in the Harris County Jail. Just in the last 2 weeks, several of my detention staff have had to be sent to the hospital due to injuries inflicted against them by inmates. Despite those challenges, I ask more of my employees. To the issue at hand, where there is failure, there will be discipline. From the bottom to the top, no member of our staff is immune from the discipline called for in these circumstances. And you know that I am not afraid to fire anyone that needs to be. During my administration, I have fired 249 employees. And when this investigation is complete, that number is probably going to be higher. My investigation into the circumstances of Mr. Goodwin's incarceration continues. However, I will not let the pending investigation delay my actions as the leader of this agency. Because of my unwavering commitment to transparency and truth, I have asked the Civil Rights Division of the District Attorney's Office. I have asked the Civil Rights Division of the FBI. I have asked the Department of Justice to conduct their own independent review of our investigation. Now, asking them to do so was easy for me, because my commitment to the protection of civil rights are deeply embedded in my core values. It is marrow deep in who Adrian Garcia is. And because we continue to work in real time, let me tell you what I have done as of today. A new bureau has been established in the Harris County Sheriff's Office. The Jail Compliance and Inspections Bureau will be led by a major, captain, and lieutenant tasked with more aggressive and regular inspection and regulation of jail quality of life complaints and standards. I have ordered the improvement of documentation of visitation and recreation refusals. Now let me be clear. State standards never require this. They've never asked for this. But I want the Harris County Jail to have a higher standard. I've directed my lieutenants to perform regular quality of life checks, a task historically left to the duty sergeants. I've ordered an expansion to the mental health training provided to all detention officers and deputies within the jail. This is an enhancement to what I already started in 2011. And I've expanded the reach of the compliance team that was responsible for exposing the conditions in which inmate Goodwin was living within. The Bureau Commander will be required to give weekly briefings to the entire command staff, making all levels of the office accountable for the standards of the jail. To assist my commander in this mission, I have created a web portal on my website. It is titled Inmate Care for family members and friends of inmates in my custody. This is where anyone can report any concern they may have about the care, treatment, or services being provided to someone in the custody of the county jail. These emails will be routed to the new bureau, the Jail Compliance and Inspections Bureau, for prompt response and inspection. Likewise, I have expanded the access for our staff to raise concerns when something requires the attention of upper command. A newly formed tip line directly links employees with our Human Resources Department to log complaints and observations. And today, I directed my staff to create a family intervention model so that we can engage family members early on when an inmate's medical or psychological condition begins to deteriorate. This is important because too often family members are left in the dark while our staff is truly and sincerely working to take care of their loved one. This is intended for us to better work together as a partnership, as a community, so that we can build greater trust in each other. My commitment to the people of Houston-Harris County remains unmatched. I have committed a lifetime of service to the protection, the lives, and properties of our residents, and I will continue to do so. Well, I remain damn mad that this has ever happened. My resolve and determination to serve the citizens of Harris County remains ever so strong. Thank you, and I'll take your questions. Thank you all very much.
Sir.
Share.
I'm trying to let other people, I'm sorry. It's a 9-point plan, impressive in its scope. One of the things that we didn't notice was anyone being moved out of their position, either temporarily or permanently, from when this happened now nearly a year ago.
Ted, I want a complete and accurate investigation. I got to understand, as I mentioned, rules, policies, procedures, practices, laws were in place. I want to understand how this happened. I'm not going to shoot first and ask questions later. I want to be surgical in my strike when decisions need to be made.
Even on a temporary basis?
I want to be very precise. I want to understand. This is an incredible breakdown, and I need to understand it completely.
What do you believe the time frame was that he was in this particular cell? Do you have an idea?
You know, I got a perspective